You still chasing bad guys? All right, good evening, everyone. We're going to move on to, this is the Meadows Place City Council regular meeting agenda. It is Tuesday, August 24th, 2021, and it is 6:30 p.m. Item A is a Pledge of Allegiance and Invocation. And if I can ask Chris Gollick what his son's name is. Dylan. Dylan, I'm going to ask you to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And that'll take place as soon as we all stand up. All right, so let's move on to item 1, the Pledge of Allegiance, and Jimmy will lead us in the invocation. Dylan, get us started. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please pray.
We humbly come to you, Lord, and thank you for all that you are doing in our lives. God, for all that you're doing in the life of this city, all that you're doing for our community. Ask that you watch over all that's going on. Beyond COVID, just the turmoil and everything that's out there, God, we know that you're in control and you're protecting us. We thank you for the staff. We thank you for the volunteers. We thank you for the leaders. Thank you for our first responders. It's just amazing to live in a place like this. We ask that you bless this meeting, bless this time together.
Amen. Thank you very much. Dylan, by the way, this goes in the record, and it'll be on the record forever. You're welcome. All right. I'm going to step down to the podium. Take this back with you. Good evening, Council. Many guests and visitors, former Council people. We're here for awards this evening. We got one I'm very, very tickled to hand out, and it's a certificate of appreciation awarded to Jaron Jackson, one of our police officers. A police officer that has served this city well for 15 years. But one little note, in the 15 years that he has been coming to work here, he's never taken a sick day. Yes, and I picked up the wrong deal. Chief, we got a button handout? Oh, we have some stuff on order that you can come over and get when we get it here. Jaron, get up here. You know I'm honored to be with you this evening. And we speak all the time, and I'm just proud as I can be to know this guy and to work with this guy and know that he's out there looking after me and my family as well. So thank you very much. We appreciate the 15 years that you've been here, the reliability and the faithfulness that you've shown this city is just unmatched anywhere, and I just thank you for it. We do have a pen that's on order. And we'll get, when it gets here, I'll bring it over to you personally. All right? But tonight, you get this. And I want you to show it off to everybody. You've been here, and we thank you so much. You got anything you want to say to us? Because you're a pretty chatty guy.
Yeah. I appreciate the City of Meadows recognizing this for me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Center stage. All right. Thank you. We also are recognizing a gentleman out of our Public Works Department. Hannah, it's been 5 years. We got these really neat pins that we give everybody. Then we got kind of a neat deal. Thank you. Oh, well. I'm going back to the microphone. Y'all need to come on Come on over here. I want you to help me present this. Dylan's here because I wanted to let him know that this is a special deal, and this town feels a special debt of gratitude to your dad. And it was for the children of the city of Meadows Place that he fired off and got all excited. And we're here tonight to recognize and formally appreciate your dad, Chris Gollick, for all the work that he did to help fire everybody up, get organized, and push and spearhead the momentum and the effort to save Meadows Elementary. And you're very familiar with Meadows Elementary. That's a yes in case you couldn't hear the head nod. But it looks a little different now, doesn't it? At 5:30, we had met with a guy that helped build that school. And he said, well, you start to get old when you realize the stuff that you built was torn down. Well, it was torn down. And that was their plan. But the plan wasn't to rebuild it. But I got a call, and I made a call. That call led into one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. City of Meadows Place, come on up now, is beholden to this gentleman that's now walking up, Mr. Chris Gollick. And Chris, we want to thank you very much for your efforts. You can say, thanks, Dad, I'm proud of you. That's the only time you're going to hear it, so you might as well love it. And this is kind of an unusual gift, except it was recommended by one of our residents because she had bought one at an auction. And she said, if anybody believes this, deserves this, it's Chris. And she brought it up and put it in my front door and said, would you pass it on to him? And I looked at it and said, no, it's 40 years old. I'm not. So Rod ordered one, and we wanted to give this to you. So this comes not only from here, but mostly generated just like your efforts from the residents of City of Meadows Place. And Dylan and I want to recognize it, recognize your efforts, and give this to you to hang on your wall without getting arrested. Okay? But Chris, thank you very much. We've enjoyed the looking back at the movie, seeing you in there. And if y'all haven't looked at it, be sure and do, because Chris is representing the whole city. And he does a great, great job on it. And we're going to be playing that here in just a second. And the people at home will be able to see it. Maybe. If you should have been here. Yeah. Anyway, Chris, officially from the City of Meadows Place and on the record, and it'll be recorded in the minutes forever and ever. I, on behalf of council and the residents of City of Meadows Place, want to thank you. Come up. You got anything to say?
This may be mine, but the real gratitude and thanks goes to everyone else in this room and everybody in this community that inspired me to inspire everybody else. This isn't all mine. This is everybody's. Thank you, everybody.
You bet. Thank you. Thank you, Dylan.
we start to see some of those elementary slowly change and go in the direction that we were wanting to.
They needed teaching tools to students in those community opportunity to be engaged in those types of things. It's very complicated in the sense that
blessed to have grown up here and really blessed to have been a part of this. It was really rewarding.
Hollywood. Again, I tell you what, I've got to say thanks, Chris, for all that you did, and I believe you deserve it. Oh, before I forget, if you notice in that film, there was a timeline that lasted almost a year and a half. And I wanted to thank publicly Assistant Chief Jack Ashton for making that possible. Jack got with the camera folks that do the cameras here and outside and different places and put 2 cameras up. We had to figure out locations and deal with that. And then he had to put up with me not knowing how to work the dang button about 3 times a week. But we made that possible to where we had several shots a week to put those timelines together. And that was a 1.5 year long project, and we couldn't have done it without Assistant Chief Ashton, the police department, and of course we put it in the park, so you get some credit too. So thank you. Thank you all. That was a good deal. Chris, we do appreciate it, and that's a living testament to the efforts that one person can make a difference and make a change. So thank you very much. And that's it. Your glory's over. We got we got to move on. But thanks again. Moving on to item number 4, police reports. The first one is the police. Chief Gary Stewart is here to run through the police report with us.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I did want to mention that, just to let you know, the Assistant Chief never complained once about having to do all that, so maybe once. All right. No, he did a good job. Thank you for mentioning that, Mayor. Congratulations, Chris. Appreciate that, too. And Officer Jackson. So, police report, we already started out with a number of accidents. This past month we had 10. We're about in the same range we always are. Nothing new. There were none in the roundabouts. Number of arrests, 10. Number of calls for service is 1,801. We had 43 reports with 361 traffic citations of 697 charges. We issued city ordinance violation citations of 0, warnings for traffic 141 with charges of 257, city ordinance warnings 13, and total activity count of 2,831. Assaults, we had 1. BMVs, we had 4. 0 burglary of business, 1 burglary of residence. City ordinances, I've mentioned before, 13. 0 on criminal mischief, 2 frauds, 0 robberies. Total part checks, so you can see the page looks a little different. We combined them all. That's 658, and that includes the business checks, close patrol, house watch, and school and tennis courts. Theft, we had 3 thefts, 2 UUMVs. On the TLC program, 21 pass, 9 fail, 30 contacts. As you can see down below, the city ordinance breakdown for violations, we had 6 for solicitors, 1 for a junk or abandoned vehicle, 3 noise complaints. And that's, again, I would just have down there that you can see there was no accidents on the roundabouts this time. As you go to the next page, it's got the breakdown of notes as we usually do that you can look through if you're interested about a particular call or have any questions. You can always reach me. I'd like us to go to the notes section, which begins on page 7, but we'll go to, I tell you what, I want to discuss our arrest real quick. If you will, go to page 4. I did want to go right before arrest. We have our flock safety breakdown, our camera system. And I know this is interesting, and it was the last time we put it in here. Got some good feedback, so I wanted to bring it back up again. So out of those flock camera hits that we get, we had 32. 17 of those vehicles were located, and 15 were unable to locate. In other words, don't know which direction they went. Officers weren't able to locate them. Out of those, we had 5 arrests made for UUMV, stolen vehicles. We had 5 sex offender alerts, 3 gang or terrorist alerts, 4 stolen plates. Flock was used 26 times by our Criminal Investigation Division for looking up and cross-reference of crimes. In addition, I put a note in here that our Flock grant that's pending, we should hear about next month, where we should get 4 more cameras. So I look for that coming in this next month. So the adult arrests, I did want to go over that just a little bit. You can see where it says flock hit. Those are going to be related to that. We made that clear on there. But the 5 stolen cars, or 5 arrests for the stolen vehicle, that's pretty significant. And we're getting them as they come through. We had several DWI arrests, as you can see. There's 3. And then we had 1 for PCS, possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1, and tampering with evidence. We had 1 warrant of other jurisdiction, and those concluded. Under additional notes, if you'll go to page 8, page 7 is just going over the COVID protocols that we've already I put in there every time, so you know that we're still doing those things. Live scan is installed and set up in mobile unit. We're working with Harris County Sheriff's Office because we have to have a MOU with them, memorandum of understanding, to access the system. So we're going through that process right now, and then training will begin. We'll also have our handheld monitor, or unit, excuse me. Shop 39, that's the newest one that y'all approved for us to get out of this budget year. It has been purchased, It was on site for a couple days, and now it's going to on-site decals for striping, and then it'll go to EFS for installation of the equipment. We're guessing about 5 weeks, a month to 5 weeks. We also should receive the police ATV grant approval next month, which will help us out, especially during special events and covering the park areas. Again, that was close to $50,000 that we didn't have to expend, and it will be used quite often, I can guarantee you. Freeze mitigation with FEMA is still in progress, but we are in the final tier. It's in a review process for application and submission, so hopefully we'll hear back soon with that, and we'll have recovered some of the monies that were spent during the freeze. We're actively still trying to fill our 4 positions with 3 patrol and 1 as a sergeant, but the good news is we have some backgrounds that are in progress and 1 potential candidate that will be going through a review board this Thursday. If he makes it through that, then he'll probably get a job offer, or he certainly will. And then we have 3 candidates that we're looking at that have moved through the background for our part-time dispatch position to fill some of our holes. As always, we continue to monitor our weather. As a reminder, we're in hurricane season and we're watching some tropical development right now that may affect us. So, as always, we want to tell everybody, if you haven't already done so, start preparing. And again, it looks like it's going to be a busy season. And with that concludes my report, Mayor and Council. Any questions?
I've got a comment, Chief. First of all, I'm tickled to death with the use of the flock camera system, or the flock system, and looks like it's even going to be productive in our little 1 square mile. I wasn't sure how effective it would be. I think the results are speaking for themselves, and again, I should have just accepted that it would, because that's what you told me. So thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
I'm glad we got it. The next thing I want to comment, and then I'll turn it over to council, is that all your TCOL hours and mandated training completed for this training cycle?
We did. If you remember, we were in a crunch because TCOL wasn't able to get the governor to extend our training cycle. And the reason we wanted it extended, and all the chiefs got together and petitioned for it, was COVID. You can't go to training if they're not holding it, or if they won't let you in the building. You can only do so much virtual. A lot of police work, unfortunately, is hands-on. You got to get in there and you got to do it. So when that wasn't allowed to be extended, all the PDs started scrambling, but we were able to get our guys through, and I'm happy to announce, because it ends really quick here, but we got everybody through.
Well, Chief, I know that was one of those issues that kept you up at night, and I know that you and Assistant Chief over there and everybody else had to put things together to make it work, and it wasn't easy. And I respect you for the effort, and thank you very much for getting it done, and tickled to death. Council, this is something we as a council ought to be proud of, that they managed to get done. So, Chief, I want to bring that up.
Thank you.
All right. Council, anybody? Oh, quick go. Chief?
Thank you very much.
We'll see you later. Absolutely. The takeoff while you get while the getting's good. Thank you very much for the effort. All right. Next up is Parks Director Colin Cabezas, who's going to give us a report from when to when.
This report represents activities from the month of June through August. Good evening, Council and Mayor. Wanted to touch base real quick on the trail project. This is something that Rick will fill you in further here in a moment. But to give you a brief few details, the trail project does continue to move forward. I have met with a sign design group for interpretive and wayfinding signs to be placed along the trail. Again, this is just the introductory phase, getting information, determining what exactly we want on that trail to benefit those that are using it. We've also met with Centerpoint to make sure that we build the trail clear of their future construction plans. thought that was a really good idea. So Rick and Nick organized that for us to meet with them. And like I said, Rick will fill you in a little bit more as we go here. The Discovery and Nature Center, we continued to have a steady flow of visitors throughout the summer. Camp was also able to utilize the facility for part of its programs. And we did limit our hours for 2 weeks. And during that time, it was due to limited availability of staff due to COVID outbreak. The ball fields, Majors Ball Field, we are working with Meadows Place Pony League and the city. We've been working together to begin the renovations on that field. The light pole and the field repair have already been ordered. Public Works and Parks will meet with Fort Bend ISD and the Fire Marshal to confirm acceptable placement of the outfield fence. There were a few points in question where they wanted to put the new fence, so we want to make sure that it is put where it needs to be and not intrusive on Fort Bend ISD. Texas Multichem, they're the group that we have chosen to do the field preparation, and they will not actually be able to complete their work until December. So you can see this is a long project. The Pony League, Parks and Public Works are all working together. We're sharing the information. We're all well aware of the time frame that we're working with. Next item is the Kirkwood project. In June, we were able to finally replace all the plants from the freeze. It took a long time to get enough in the nurseries and large enough to be able to put out there. So we did in June, and then came rain. And more rain and more rain. So with rain comes a lot of growth. So that's what we're experiencing right now is a lot of growth, overgrowth, and weeds. And we are working with Texas Lawn on a new contract to actually maintain the weeds on a weekly basis. So we'll be looking at that come October to assist. It's a much bigger job than what staff can handle alone there. Moving on to beautification, as I stated, the rain this summer has brought quick growth, not only to plants and weeds, but also to ants. Kurt can speak to that firsthand with his child. And our staff are continuing to manage what they can between the rain events and the extreme heat. So if you're out and about and there's something that you see, feel free to report it to us. We're more than happy to get there. It's hard for us to know where every issue is within the city, so we are open to you sharing that with us so that we can get some attention to it. The pool, it ran successfully this summer, minus a 2-week shutdown for COVID and a lap pool repair. That lap pool has since been repaired and is back open and usable. And we have 2 weekends left for the pool. We will be closing the pool at the end of day, Labor Day, which is September 6th, I do believe. On a good note, we did sell $10,000 worth of pool bands as compared to $5,000 last summer. So that was a nice increase. The biggest increase, one, is the pool was open longer, more weeks during the summer, and two, the cost of the wristbands went up from $5 to $10. So that definitely helps to offset the lifeguard expenses, the pool repairs, and those types of things. Helfman Park, we completed a turf repair under the swing sets. If you are familiar with the Helfman Park, the playground for all, it was all green AstroTurf. Now there's a big patch of blue, almost like a big lake or pond underneath the swing set. That was replaced because the turf was separating. So we redesigned that patch to have less wear areas. There's also a slide that we have purchased for replace out there. This was a slide that was donated to us from the school, their playground equipment. We've tried to repair it on our own in-house, but we've actually had to go ahead and order one now. And then finally, on that note, the night herons, they have successfully flown the coop.
Yay.
So just so you know, those night herons, they test a tree out the first season. If it was good, they bring back their friends the next year. So we will have a game plan going into this next year. But again, we live and cohabitate with nature among us, so we will just have to all get along. Moving on to recreation, as I stated, summer camp, it was very full each week with an average of about 18 children. Again, those numbers were up over the previous year that we ran summer camp, just about double. We did have to close the camp the last 3 weeks, and that was due to a COVID exposure of 14 children, counselors, lifeguards. And we were able to refund those that were affected by the closure. The community center remained open during this period, and we were booked throughout the summer. However, now we are starting to trend with some COVID cancellations. I get about one of those a week now. People are becoming either concerned about get-togethers or someone in their party has COVID, so they are canceling their rentals. Marketing videos, these are the Did You Know videos. I completed 6 of those between June and August, and we're scheduled for 3 more this week. Boy, aren't they fun. Anybody would like to take over, that'd be great. Events. So during the summer, kickoff to summer, it was canceled due to rain. That was our first event of the summer. Then we moved into July 4th. It was rainy, but it ended up being very successful. It cleared, and we had approximately 800 to 1,000 participants. And the fireworks show lasted about 12 minutes. Subsequently, the survey results after this July 4th event have come back that our community would prefer an evening event with fireworks. So council, if we are all in agreement with that, I do need to begin to secure a fireworks vendor for next year. Barefoot and Friday, we were able to have our first one in June, but then July's was canceled also due to COVID. So upcoming for our programs, as I stated, pool closing is September 6th at end of day. That is Labor Day. It is a Monday. That is the last day that the pool will be open for this season. We're not able to extend it like we did last summer, really due to the lack of lifeguards. Last summer, kids were still at home on their computers doing school. The availability was a lot better, but all of our kids are back in school now, and we just don't have staffing to be able to extend hours through September. Projects, the installation of the digital marquee, that will be in place by the end of September. And then the asphalt overlay to the Brighton cul-de-sac will begin after Labor Day, and that will be coordinated with our police department and Fort Bend ISD. Upcoming events, our Fall Festival. That's October 16th. It is the craft show with the Home and Garden Club, German band, food, German wine, Stein holding contest, kids rides, and activities. So this is a combination of our Oktoberfest, our Monarch Festival, the craft show. We're putting it all into one and calling it a fall festival, which can interchange different types of activities from year to year. So as of right now, I spoke to Kurt earlier and had told him all we can do is plan and move forward. In light of the pandemic, we'll get as close to the event as we can and make the call typically the day before if we have to. But at this point, we are moving ahead with this event, and it's October 16th. So if you know anyone that is interested in participating as a craft vendor, please have them get in touch with me. And all you gentlemen and ladies, start getting your muscles ready to hold those steins. The next event after that,
Let me
yes, sir.
stop you on that. Mm-hmm. There is a change in the craft show location, is there not?
There is a change in the craft show location. Typically, Home and Garden utilized the community center. And they were able to put some booths inside and then in the parking lot. We found that once the city and the craft, the Home and Garden Club combined the event together, we weren't able to really make an event flow because of them being in the community center. We tried to move our event closer, but again, because of the spatiality of the area, we were not able to make it gel. So the Home and Garden Club actually are going to be joining us over in McGrath Park. They'll be under a big 60 by 60 tent with their craft vendors, and then the rest of the city event will flow all around them. So it'll be great for everybody. Everything will be in one place. And then the last item I have is Christmas memories. Mark your calendars now. That's December 3rd. And yes, I have already ordered the snow. And that concludes my report. Does anyone have questions?
No, I just want to say thank you. And I will say that on the 4th of July festival, it did rain. And I pulled up out in the cul-de-sac about 5:30. The event was supposed to start at 6,
Yes.
something like that. And you couldn't see across that cul-de-sac. And who was out in the middle of that cul-de-sac trying to direct traffic and cancel this and say, yes, we're going to have it, looking at the weather in that pouring rain, and that was our Parks Department. And I'll tell you what, it doesn't get him our hands on the net, and I thank you very much as you got in and just ripping, but thank you for your efforts. I thought it was a
You're welcome.
great event, and I'm looking forward now to the Fall Festival. I know y'all had some arranging to do on the craft show. I'm in great hopes that works well for the festival and for the Home and Garden Club. I think they'll do a lot better because people will all be centered around where they are instead of, well, I'm not walking over there type of thing. Colleen, I thank you for your efforts. Anybody got any questions or comments for Colleen?
No, it's all between the hours of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. So we'll be selling German beers, German food. There'll be a German band playing. At the same time, we'll have the craft show going on, so you have entertainment. And then we have rides and activities for kids and petting zoo and face painting. So it will all be in the same area during the day from 10 to 2.
All right. With that, we will conclude the Parks and Recreation report. Colleen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Item 3, the one everybody waits for, is Fire Department monthly report. And I'm giving it. And I would like to say that this last reporting period from then to now, we had a total of 43 incidents, 1 fire, 30 rescue and emergency service, 1 hazard condition without a fire, 2 service calls, 7 good intent calls. Those are ones where people think or are worried that there might be something, and they call. And they call 911 and they dispatch. And just like the police, we're glad that they do. We want rather coming out to nothing than not come to something that they shouldn't have. And we had 2 false alarms calls for the total of 43 calls. That 30 rescue and emergency medical service, that's right at 70% of our calls. And I was talking about the fact that we managed to get EMS come into this city when everybody said we couldn't. And working with the police department, kicked them out of their training facility. Worked with Commissioner Patterson, whom I was visiting with on this topic last night or Sunday night, and boy, I tell you what, it's made a huge difference because we've got them right here in response time, so we're glad they are. We had some activity out of the fire marshal at Meadows Place Preschool, Aero Liberation Academy, and O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts is going to be over there by CBS. okay? And they have obtained their civil permit. Is that not correct? Okay, so I didn't check today, but I believe that went through today. So they're getting ready to put $1 million facility down on that corner up there. And that'll be a great addition to the city of Meadows Place. And the fire marshal's already working on them. Item number 4 is the city administrator's report. And you're up, Mr. Nick Habe, our city administrator.
Thanks, Mayor. We're coming up on the close to the tail end of budget season, so it's been all budget all the time the last several weeks, but I'm proud of the way that staff's risen to the occasion on this, and I very much enjoyed the process that we went through on this, and more than anything, it was the idea of getting the team together to be able to work to balance a budget that we're proud of and we're proud to show to you. So we've got a couple of presentations tonight a little later on to show you what we've done with the budget, as well as some of the unanswered questions from our last workshop in terms of water and sewer rates and that kind of thing. You might recall that months ago we talked about the idea of a wall of city service that we wanted to put out on the lobby. Looks like that's actually going to happen. And so here, hopefully in the next few days, we'll start to see photos of all of our city employees go up in the lobby. And it'll kind of divide it by the length of service so that our employees have been here, and it'll be a nice showcase of the what we call the human infrastructure here at City Hall. And so when people come in, they'll be able to see, put a face and a name to some of our employees that work here, and recognize how long they've worked for the city of Meadows Place. Also, this morning, sent you all an email. We are going to be doing a webinar come September 9th that we're excited about. We found one related to something that we've been talking about lately, which is social media and communications, specifically as it relates to cities, some of the laws associated with it, some of the experiences that our people have had with it. I encourage everyone that can come to attend. It'll be from 9 to noon over at the Emergency Operations Center. They're on the 9th. Courtney says we're going to have really good food there to entice you to come. And so were we to have a quorum, let us know if you can be there so we can go ahead and post a notice of that. With that, I'm done. We should keep on going, Mayor.
All right, well, I will do so. Thank you very much, Nick. And I want to say, for as much as you do, that's awful brief report. And I appreciate that, by the way. Okay. Moves us on to item D, Mayor and Council comments. I wanted to touch base just a second on FEMA Risk Rating 2.0. Some of you know a lot about it. Some of you never heard about it. All of you will be affected. They're redoing the FEMA flood rates, the flood insurance rates. It's not going to go up over $12,500 for your annual flood insurance. That's the maximum. We should be right about break even for a lot of folks here in Meadows Place. Some with the really big houses and multi-million dollars will get a hit, but the rest of us, we don't know yet. And that's why you're going to see a resolution later on objecting to this thing moving forward. It's not because we don't want them to adjust it, because the thing's upside down. It's losing money. Everybody knows it needs to be fixed. The problem is, and I sat through a 2-hour seminar on this thing, the answer is, what did you use? Well, we used really good actuarial tables. And what were the rates based on? Well, most of them were based on topography. And what about the ones behind the levees? Well, most of those are to, what's that bottom line of your finished flooring, yeah. But a lot of them, especially in a lot of Fort Bend County, where there are levees and levee systems, they're still using in a lot of that data, from what we can tell, and we can't tell anything because they haven't released anything, and they legally don't have to. They're using Army Corps of Engineer data, which has been proven over the last couple, 3 floods, particularly in Harvey, not to be accurate. Things changed, subsidence happened, levees were built higher, all kind of stuff has changed, and we don't know what data they're using. Now, Meadows Place, fortunately, is pretty well unaffected. Now, if you'll notice, I put something in the newsletter the past couple of months and on Facebook. If you got a flood insurance, and I advise everybody to have it if you want it, whether you're in a floodplain or not. And by the way, the floodplain maps are getting thrown out because once it goes into effect, and you've got it, you're going to be when it goes up, you'll be on a gradual slope. If you don't buy it, and you decide to buy it in 2 years from now, you're going to pay here, right now. So there's some changes, and if you sell your house, it doesn't go. But if you have it now, it does. Things like that, and we're recommending that they hold off for 6 months. Thursday night council, we're going to hear some more on this. Urge everybody that can be there. And so this is a thing that's going to affect Fort Bend County particularly bad because of things like Fulsheur's 12,000% growth and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's what's going on. Keep your eyes open. I don't know if it's going to be any good. I'm not as afraid, and Meadows Place shouldn't get hit as bad as it looked like it would. But that's something that's on there, that's happening. We have nothing to do about it. Second thing I want to mention is item B is court collections. I'm going to let our city secretary and head of courts talk a little bit about that, but I want to say this. We've been working very, very hard to streamline our courts system, to make sure that we have modernized it, and particularly in the collections arena was what I was going to try to say. And we're working with Linebarger, which is the largest collection law firm in the world, and we're part of them. And so it's something that we're doing, and I'm really proud of the position that Meadows Place is in, and we're doing a good job. And Courtney, tell us a little bit about it real quick.
Well, we signed an agreement effective with Linebarger in December 2019 to start our court collections, and unfortunately COVID hit shortly after, and that prevented us from sending some things to collections, but we are sending to collections for them. And basically what they do is they are collecting, trying to collect our unpaid fines. So when somebody is issued a ticket, if they come to court and they make payment arrangements or make agreements to take care of their fine and they don't meet their obligation, we then forward that on to the collection company, and they reach out to them and say, hey, you have this fine that you owed Meadows Place, you need to pay it. We also, at that time, submit the information into Omni if we have a driver's license for that person. Their driver's license is then put on hold, and they cannot renew it until they pay their fine here at Meadows Place. Another time we send to Omni is if they fail to appear at court. If they fail to appear at court, we then mail them a letter that says, hey, you had a court date, you didn't appear, please contact the court, we can reschedule, try to take care of your citation. Once that's mailed out, if we don't hear from the defendant in 30 days, same thing, we turn them over to collections. We were encouraged by our meeting with Linebarger that they are collecting and that we are pretty much right where all the other courts are right now as far as collections. One problem that we're having is the no driver's license, and that seems to be an issue with several courts. I think for the month of June, 47% that we sent over did not have a driver's license. So
now, in all fairness, before we all freak out like I did, a lot of that was because of COVID. Driver's licenses expired and couldn't go in, or they were delayed. Okay, but that's an exorbitant amount that does affect what we do.
Right.
But
Linebarger still has other ways. They take the license plate that's on the citation, They have $1 million worth of software that they use to skip trace, and they were explaining that they have companies that basically compete with each other. Who can get it back to them fastest, that's who keeps getting the business. So they're constantly working these cases. They even have cases that we submitted that were with our previous collections company that were not collected, and they are working to collect those as well. So we are seeing an increase in collections in the last couple months. So we hope to eventually, I think they said in 5 years, they would hope we're at 30% collections. But we are right in line with all the other courts right now.
Which is about what percent?
I thought we were at I don't remember exactly. 10%, yes.
And part of that is because the fact that we dropped down to 6 with everybody else, and now they're building back up. And I want to say that Courtney was in there, and Nick was in there. We were sitting listening to those things, and I'm just so impressed by the professionalism of the group, and the fact that Meadows Place is with them. And it's just one area that we sought to increase the standards of performance of our staff, and we've managed to do it. And I want to say thank you for Courtney for pushing me on that. So with that, I'm moving on to items 2, which is council comments. Rick, I might as well just. And by the way, what is our name for him? Our personal project manager?
Volunteer project manager is
volunteer.
What
oh yeah,
Nick
you're a
calls me.
volunteer project manager, guys. I can't tell you how much work he does for the city, and thank you very much, Rick. I do. I mean that sincerely.
All right. We'll start out with the Dorrance Lane reconstruction project. We did review the 75% of plans, met with HDR last week to kind of go over our comments, make sure that they understood what we were after. It did end up with some couple questions that we need to get answers to them. And so I'm going to run through those for council. We can either decide yes, decide no, or you want to have a workshop to discuss it. So the first one is we've got a few residents that have decorative sidewalks going down to the public sidewalk. We will have to adjust those a little bit when we're redoing the public sidewalk. So the question becomes, and actually I need to talk about irrigation as well. Irrigation is also between the curb and the sidewalk. And so as a city, do we want to replace that once we damage it with our road work, or is that the resident's cost? I can tell you what the county's answer is. Anything out in the right-of-way is at risk, and the county will not replace it. So the residents would have to bear that costs. We talked with HDR, and they said it's about 50-50 on what cities do. And in general, bigger cities will say that's a resident's cost because they've got enough, votes there that it's not going to impact anybody. Smaller cities will usually spend the city money to repair that irrigation system or replace that, 4 feet of sidewalk with something similar. And so do we want to tell HDR replace in kind? It's the resident's cost, or you want to workshop it and have a longer discussion?
Well, I don't have a vote, so I'm going to throw my 2 cents in first. I can't believe we would even consider taking out somebody's irrigation and not putting it back. I can't believe we would rip somebody's sidewalk up and not put it back. Now, that's just my thing, and I believe that that's the type of loving, caring attitude that Meadows Place is known for, and I think we need to do it. But that's up to council because y'all vote.
And we're not voting right now. I'm just looking for head nods type thing. Any other thoughts?
Replace it, city cost. I would agree.
Okay. I just didn't want to make that decision unilaterally, and then you guys going, why does this cost so much?
Yeah, you would have.
Do you have an idea of how many residents we're talking about, or not? Just out of
I would say probably half of them will have irrigation. We're only talking a couple of decorative walks.
Yeah. Okay.
For the driveway replacement, I think last time I mentioned that we might be getting a little deeper into the properties than we would like. HDR did do a little bit more in-depth analysis, and if we go to a 12% slope, we can really reduce the amount. For most of the properties, that's actually less than the existing driveways, and I said that as long as we're less than the existing driveways, we should be okay.
You're talking about the percent of slope, right?
Percent of slope on the driveways. What we've asked them to do is they're going to prepare a drawing per house, per resident, per address, I should say, and then we will send that to the resident when we're asking for the construction easement. So, we'll tell them when the project will be inconveniencing them, if we have to get on their property, that we will be replacing the irrigation system if damaged, and then talk about the driveway slope. If they have any objections, that's when they would tell us, let's say somebody's got a low profile car and we need to work with them a little bit more. So I think...
Owned by a pickup.
So I don't really think we need to discuss that more. We'll take care of that during the design and pre-construction phase, and each resident will have a chance to see what the impact is on them and how we're going to address it. And if they've got a concern, they'll come back to us. Next thing is the gravel sidewalks in front of Vroom. Do we want to keep those as decomposed granite, or do we want to upgrade those to concrete where we're doing that? And this is actually phase 2. This is a decision we can kick down the road, but they are trying to finish up the plans. So are there any preferences, thoughts? Colleen, any thoughts? The decomposed granite sidewalks out in front of Vroom, do we want to leave it decomposed granite, or do we want to upgrade that to concrete and have less maintenance over there? Because it's kind of complete concrete sidewalk. Because it's kind of hard for you guys to maintain it. It's away from the rest of the trail system. Well, right now nobody's really maintaining it is the issue. I would say go to concrete over there because it is disjointed from the rest of the system.
No.
I'd say go with concrete, and if we have to cut something, that would be something we could cut and go back to it.
It's pennies when we're talking 400 feet of sidewalk here. It's not compared to the rest of the project. It's nothing.
Concrete.
I'd say when you walk in, and you take a look at it, it fits the rest of our city, though, Kurt. Well, and that we need to address that. Okay. And I think we may have. Colleen doesn't know about it, but she may be part of the solution because she's getting people to do that.
Well, and I don't know that it's actually theirs to maintain. I'd have to go back to the agreement. I think it's ours. It's ours to maintain.
So, I'd say if we can adjust this at any time, though, can't we, Rick?
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to leave it as, and then see if we can find a way to maintain it and have it look pretty.
The mayor doesn't get a vote. What do the rest of us think?
That's exactly right.
If we want to go all the way to Northern Tools, we'd have to expand the design phase. Right now, we're going to just pass the dog park.
Down to where the
so
entry sign is.
We could do it as part of the project, or we could do it in phases over the years. If, to some of our residents, they might want to walk to James Coney. So, yeah.
It's people can get walk to James County Island right now.
Mm-hmm. More, well, the decomposed granite, even if we do the curbs, is going to be more maintenance than just concrete. And so it really becomes about look. Do we want to keep that decomposed granite up there, or do we just want standard sidewalk? I've heard a couple say just leave it decomposed.
We walk it often to the dog park, and when it rains and there is a lot of water, that decomposed granite, there's not a lot of drainage there, so there has been issues. But I would say having just that small piece goes against the rest of the look. So, but we are talking about pennies, and I think that is the most walked area from that piece to the dog park. So it would be better to have concrete for that purpose. So.
Where does that start at? It starts at Bloomington, right?
Bloomington. It's concrete through the end of the first house.
Yes.
Yeah. And then it's decomposed granite from there down to, actually all the way down to
59 almost.
To the driveway heading up
Right.
into Northern Tool, right?
Yes.
Right.
That's what, 400 feet, 500 feet?
No, that's going to be well over 1,000 to down to
Down
there.
there? Okay. I don't walk it. Colleen's not throwing out in favor of anything, but she said, except the
You're asking my opinion, I'm in more favor of
but the Parks Director
You're
wants
talking
it.
about more maintenance and more care.
What's our volunteer project manager prefer?
Boy, you know
I would do concrete over here. If there was any way to tie this into the rest of our trail system, I'd have a different answer.
Yeah.
But there's not.
There's just not. And so, when they're running the gator out, or to put the granite down, or to run the tiller, or whatever the thing is that they drag behind the gator, it's much easier for them to get down into the park, into our trail system, than it is to get over here.
Plus, this stuff that was laid with a concrete binder in it, whereas the rest of them weren't.
Yeah.
And at one time, that was an absolutely gorgeous entryway when Texas Direct was there. And they had all the flower gardens blooming and everything else, and it really looked nice, and they put those trails in and maintained them. Texas Direct went away, and enough said. That's
Okay.
Varun.
Well, I've got the final answer I wanted of concrete, so I'm moving on. The sharrows that we had, the bike symbols that we put on Dorrance when we were trying to obtain grant money, that was just to help us score better. Not really used, not sure that they're needed, so when we were redoing the streets, we weren't going to put the sharrows back. Does anybody feel strongly about wanting to keep those? No? You do? I do remember we got a lot of criticism when we did it. But, it's It's not a lot of cost. It's just a matter of, do we want them back?
And I'll say this, of course, a bunch of those people, there's some of those that are going to gripe. They'd gripe if you hung them with a new rope. And it was change, and it looked so different down Dorrance. Some of those folks wouldn't gripe this time. But I'm not sure about the practicality and tying it in. I'd like to talk to you about that, because right now we're talking about a trail system coming in at the power lines.
Well, this is one where I can tell HER to just leave it in for now, and we make a decision at the 100% level before the project goes to bid.
Okay.
It's not a decision we need to make now.
And it's not much money anyhow, is it? I mean, really?
No. You're probably talking less than $2,000. So.
Get some lifeguards out there on the weekend for less than that.
Yeah. So we're going to defer that question. Nick handed out a handout for you guys. This is probably going to be our new standard whenever somebody punches through our curb with a drain. This should help us maintain the look of the curb a lot better than what we currently have when somebody just kind of bootlegs something.
Time out, educate me.
What's
You're
that?
talking about down here at the bottom?
Yes.
Stormwater curb openings?
Yes. Basically, they would just saw cut the curb out, insert this, pour the curbing back around it. That locks it into place.
That's pretty cool.
And I'll provide it to the audience if you want it as well. We're double checking. It appears to be steel, some kind of cast steel. That we're trying to make sure that it's not some kind of polycarbonate.
What's wrong with polycarbonate? They make jet airplanes or jet fighters out of that stuff.
It depends on how it's made and how UV resistant it is.
It reflects bullets.
If you use the right stuff. If you use the wrong steel in your bridge structures, it kind of falls down. So, Steve, you want to get this and pass around?
Well, this is really, I like this a lot.
It's the bottom one there. Yeah, if it's done as part of the project, yes. If you come in 3 years later, it's on you. Now the tough one. I took all the easy ones first.
Is this something then that we would make mandatory for people cutting through?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'd end up having to make them available.
Make an ordinance and make the information available. Whether we would buy some and have them on stock, that'd be another option we could do, and they could buy it directly from us at cost.
Okay.
Now the tough one. The always stop. So obviously we don't have warrant studies on our always stops. So the question is council brave enough to take down the stop signs on Dorrance?
How many we got, Rick?
What's that?
How many we got?
It's probably Bloomington and Oxford Trail.
On this portion
on this project.
Okay.
So it'd be one on phase 1 and one on phase 2. And this is one we can workshop because I figured this is going to cause some angst.
It is. It's causing me angst right now.
So basically without warrant, and if you can't prove up that you've done the study and have the engineering warrant, anybody that challenges the ticket's going to get it thrown out. It's not enforceable.
What would it cost us to have that study done?
A couple $1,000s, maybe $5,000, up to $5,000. The problem is you're not going to get an engineer to sign off on it because it's not warranted.
There's not enough traffic count.
It doesn't meet the state requirements.
Yeah. But even if you have a stop sign and it's not warranted, and yes, we would have to throw it out in court, most people will still stop at it.
In theory.
At the stop sign there and gets on the bus. And I've seen people haul down that road very, very fast. And so that worries me.
Understand. And that's going to be the question that we get if we decide to take the stop
And
signs
we
down.
have the option to put it in. However, there's a liability issue. Is there not?
Correct. You actually carry more liability from putting it in than
Yep.
not installing it, because you have done something in violation of the MUTCD.
And you knew it.
Truthfully, it doesn't even matter if you know it.
Ignorance
Ignorance
is
is
not an excuse.
ignorance is not an excuse
Yeah.
under liability.
What do you mean by liability? Accident?
Yeah.
Yes.
If there's an accident there, then we hold.
Then
liable.
we are held liable, whereas right now we're not. If there's an accident at that corner.
Yeah.
So let's say car number 1 stops, car number 2 does not and runs into the back of them. Car number 2 gets cited for moving violation for rear-ending the car in front of them.
Yeah.
He's got a savvy lawyer, and he turns around and says, that shouldn't have been there in the first place. Therefore, the guy in front of me wouldn't have stopped, and I wouldn't have hit them. I'm going to sue the city. Now, the question is, does he win? And I will tell you, I have searched for case law on this for 20 years. There is none, because cities always settle out of court. Their lawyers say, you don't have a chance of winning this, pay it out. The only case law I found was in California, where they had a mid-block one, and that city got sued for several $100,000. And I can forward that to you if you want.
So let's workshop this later.
I am not aware of a warrant for any of our existing stop signs.
No.
Now, what I will say is, you never know what a judge and a jury will do.
So,
And I would encourage you, any of you that want to talk about this, talk to our city attorney, preferably in a group, so he only charges us once.
and it'll
Maybe-
save us a lot of money.
Maybe at our dinner that we're having at TML.
Yeah, I'd like to suggest, it sounds like this might be another workshop item that we want to double click a little deeper, so we might want to consider that at a future meeting.
Yeah.
All right. So now you got everybody all riled up. What's next?
All right, moving on to our bike project. We had a pretty good call with Centerpoint. We did not get a hell no. You can't expand your trail. You can't put a parking lot in. What they did want is to do a routing analysis, because there is another big 20-inch gas line that's going to be coming up that corridor. And so they want to make sure that we're not interfering with that new gas line. I don't know how long that would take. And so our question is, do we want to get a new price from our surveyor and survey the entire width of the Centerpoint fee strip? Or do we want to wait, because they only scoped in surveying 80 feet of the project, or 80 feet of the strip, and it's 300 feet wide. And so it's either of what's important to us, time or money. And truthfully, they can't really start designing until we get the route analysis back anyway. They could start design of the sidewalk areas, they could start design of the parking lot, but they really can't design the trail until we get the routing analysis.
So I can get the parking lot and the bridge?
Well, you get it designed, you don't get it built until we get the whole thing out ready for bid. I think we could ask Centerpoint how long this usually takes and then get a better answer.
But I think that's the thing to do, because if we're talking a couple of weeks, it's no big deal. But if it's going to be 3.5 years.
The application says, I think, 6 to 8 weeks, whatever that means. We've been working this week on putting together the application to send to Centerpoint, along with a good drawing that Rick had submitted with both what we want and then an alternate route. Now we send that in along with an application fee. We wait presumably 6 to 8 weeks and see what they have to say. They may come back and say yes, no, or they may need more information. We just
Or
don't
may
know.
move us.
They probably won't move us. They'll probably say no or ask for more information. But we'll see what they say. I mean, it's
Well, if they say no, not here.
then we come back with something else.
Well, I think the routing is, they're going to tell us where we can be.
Right.
Yeah.
And, we were assuming we were going to go on the east side along the channel. And it sounds like they may move us to the west side of the fee strip once we get past the Discovery Center.
So when we get past the Discovery Center.
I'll draw you a picture, Charlie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in that same workshop, maybe we'll put this on too.
That's a good thing. That's a good idea. When are we going to get that application?
The application's done. We're waiting. We need to cut a check. It's a $1,500 application fee, so we got to cut the check, send it into Centerpoint, and then that's when they say it takes 6 to 8 weeks.
We can do that tomorrow?
Friday.
Friday? Okay. Okay. Super. Well, with that, Rick, thank you very much. We appreciate you volunteering and being our project manager on item A and B.
Yeah, if you guys want to get some insight in my job, I'm the one that gets to tell people, no, your realtor lied to you when they told you that was a linear park behind your house. That's actually the future toll road. Those are fun conversations to have.
Yeah, it's not as bad as, hey, you got to tear your house down. That was a pretty bad conversation. All right, moving on to, and again, thank you, Rick. Where'd Dylan go home? Oh. Was he got bored with this? I want to remind everybody, these meetings purpose of these meetings is to take care of the business of the city. And we're taking care of a lot of business for this city tonight, and I want to thank you very much. Item E, moving on to the regular agenda. And we're pretty certain, is that correct, City Secretary, that we know the order in which we're going to do these now? That was an inside joke. Okay, item number 1, discussion and consideration of ordinance 2021-29, setting the maximum proposed tax rate, emphasis on maximum, setting dates for any necessary public hearings on the proposed tax rate, and setting the date the City Council will adopt the fiscal year 2021-22 tax rate. And Council, this is a record vote, and we will be doing a voice vote. I'm assuming everybody has looked and understand it, and we will be setting hearing and on this thing. But right now, I just need to call out.
Well, I think we just want to state the proposed tax rate is the 0.832, and the hearing date is September 21st.
All right. What she said.
Do we need to do a record vote on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to start down there with David. We're proposing a tax rate of 0.832 and the 21st of September for a hearing. Yay? Kurt?
Aye. Yay.
Tia? Rick? All right. Did you get them to the City Secretary? All those passed. We're done. And thank you very much. How much did our tax rate go up this year? Oh, it didn't. Item number 2. Would you like to make a comment? Hold on just 1 second. Don't start yet. I don't have my...
It's for Rick. Get your calculator out.
Nope. I'm getting my stopwatch out. You got 3 minutes.
Steve Besner, 12222 Meadowcrest. Rick, or whoever on council, what's the average taxes going up per citizen this year?
We've got an excellent PowerPoint presentation that we're going to give in about 5 minutes that has a lot of that information.
Oh, it's going to answer that question?
It does, yeah.
Okay.
And Steve, this is actually just setting a proposed tax rate. We won't adopt the official tax rate until September.
Right. I was just curious.
After the hearing.
So if we need to show up at the hearing in opposition or in for this? Like how much is the average citizen out of pocket additional? Because we can all say the tax rates stay the same, but then values go up. So how much on average is everyone
value,
paying?
and well, I think it actually has that in
We
there.
have those numbers, and
Yep.
Yeah.
we do.
And we're going to flash a thing on screen, I think will be a perfect opportunity. And of course, the time to discuss that is during the hearing.
You just passed up.
No, we set the date for the hearing.
Okay.
So the proposed tax rate doesn't mean that that's going to be the tax rate. The proposed tax rate that they just voted on means that they can go at that rate or below. They just can't go above it.
And we're going to show those figures on there too.
In the September
We can
meeting,
ask questions on that then? Okay.
Right. They're going to actually vote on the full rate in September.
We tried to come prepared, Steve. Okay, where were we at? We finished, okay. Item number 2. Yes, I did. I took a vote. We had 4 yeses and 1 aye.
Did you give the dates that we're holding those
Yes.
hearings? Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate Rick always looks after me. Item number 2, discussion consideration item ordinance 2021-2030, amending the fee schedule regarding trash pickup and water and sewer rates effective October 1, 2021. We're going to see this included in this PowerPoint that we're going to see in just a minute. When are we going to show that? Okay. Take a look at what we've done. And this is really important that, well, let me just let you go through it.
Okay. All right. Mayor and Council, let me start by saying Anna Maria had a family emergency last minute, and I was really looking forward to her giving this presentation. So I'm going to pick up the mantle and do my best Anna Maria impression on this.
Hold on real quick, Nick. Terry, it might be easier if you turn around. That screen's a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
It might be easier to see.
That's because he's old?
Not at all, sir. Those TVs are smaller.
So as you recall, when we met at the last workshop, we showed you, based on current water, sewer, and trash rates, what the deficit was going to be on the proposed budget. That deficit was somewhere on the order of about $112,000. Council at that time gave us direction to go ahead and cut that deficit in half, with the balance of the deficit basically coming from our fund balance to zero out our water and sewer budget. Now, water and sewer is, of course, what is known as an enterprise fund, which essentially means that it's supposed to be a separate fund that's meant to pay for it, pay its own way, so to speak. You set the rates that essentially pay for the services we provide. So, knowing the direction that that council gave us, which is essentially to cut that $112,000 in half, we began to play with the numbers to see how we could get that done. Rod, Anna Marie, and I got together and threw up a lot of ideas on how to do that. This is what we landed on as a proposal. Now, we knew that we were going to have to go up on our garbage rates because Texas Pride is going ahead and increasing their rates to us. So that's something of a pass.
As per their contract.
As per their contract, and so that's a pass-through that we're going ahead and taking care of to cover those costs. You can see that right there where the arrow is on $1.90. So at this time, fiscal year 21, the garbage rate on your bill is $18.10. That would be going up to $20 to cover that increase. Now you start talking about water and sewer.
Before we leave garbage, just so everybody knows, Texas Pride didn't have an increase last year as well, but we were able to absorb that and not increase the garbage collection costs last year. But with this year's increase, we feel that we need to increase it so we're covering our costs.
Right. And that was some direction council talked to us about at the last meeting as well. We haven't adjusted the garbage rate since, I believe, 2016 was the number. That alone generates an additional $35,431 to the coffers to be able to shorten that gap that we're in right now. Then we look at the water and sewer rates. Now, you'll notice that all of the base fees stay the same. We didn't propose any changes to the base fees. Now, what that means is that essentially for anybody that uses up to 4,000 gallons, which incidentally is about 50% of our ratepayers, they will see no increase in water and no increase in sewer. The only increase they would see was that $1.90 in the garbage rate. Then you look at the additional the tiers up there. Up to 10,000 gallons, you'll see that it still stays at $1.20 on the water side. So in other words, if you use all the way up to 10,000 gallons, the water side doesn't change at all. You're still paying the same amount. Now on the sewer side, we did bump it up from $1.15 to $1.40, which is a 25-cent increase per 1,000 gallons, beginning at that additional 1,000 gallons after 4,000 and up to 15. So what that basically means is that if you use basically up to 10,000 gallons, if you use anything between 4,000 and 10,000, which is another roughly 30 to 40% of our residents, the only increase you're going to see is going to be on the garbage and on the sewer side. That covers roughly 80 to 90% of our ratepayers.
And what's that increase going to be if you use that, ran that up? $1.50?
$1.50.
Yeah, and we have another sheet that shows that. Anything above that 10,000 on the water side, you can see we went up 50 cents to $1.90. Over 20,000, we also adjusted to $1.90. So really what this does, even though we have 3 tiers on here, is it reduces it to 2 tiers. It's the first rate up to 4,000 and then the second rate at 10,000. And so you can see that if we go ahead and do that on the residential side, if we can get to the next slide, that really, and I know it's a bit of an eye test, but that really shows you what the impact would be on the proposed rates and what our current rates are now and what the proposed rates are. Anna Maria did a fine job of breaking this down. So you can see 50 to 60% of our residents are only going to see that $1.90 increase on the garbage side.
On the garbage.
Without any adjustments on the water and sewer. Once you hit that 5,000 up to 10,000, which is another 30 to 40% of the residents, water stays the same, sewer incrementally goes up. Then you get into the high-end users, those that are going up to 20 and higher, and you can see that there is a water and sewer increase there in addition to that standard $1.90. So pick your number. If you use, let's say, 8,000 gallons, you can see what the rate is you're paying this year and what the rate is you'd pay under the proposed. Now, we'll talk a little bit about commercial as well, but fast forwarding a little bit, spoiler alert to the end, doing this does go ahead and cut that $112,000 deficit in half, okay, down to about $57,000. This would be year one of being able to close that gap. Let's say we decided to do this again next year, same thing, then we'd find ourselves at a balanced budget on the water and sewer side. But at this time, we do find ourselves $112,000 in the hole, which we need to close, no question. So the option here is, instead of what would essentially be doubling this increase, we're doing this increase, and then the other half we need to make up, we're pulling out of fund balance and doing a transfer
This year.
on the water and sewer this year. And we'll show you that in a second. If we can go to the next slide, Courtney. On the commercial side, something very similar. What we really kind of tried to do was match the residential rates. So you'll see that we went up 50 cents after 4,000. Again, base rate stays the same. Went up 50 cents on the additional 1,000 gallons up to 10,000. And then after 10,000, you're paying $2.10 as opposed to what was the 2 rates of $1.40 or $1.60. Now that $2.10, as you might recall, also matches what you'd pay on the residential side over 10,000 gallons. Sewer side, we did that little bit of an adjustment, 50 cents on the sewer base rate up above 4,000. The 4,000 base rate stays the same. Conversion fee stays the same. Road use fee stays the same. That right there just generates another $13,000 estimated in annual revenue. But again, this all depends on how much water people choose to use. Next slide, Courtney. This is just an example on the commercial side of what that rate adjustment would do. you can see that these are pretty large meters and pretty large usages. These are the highest users we've got. And you can see what that change would do on a charge there. Again, not a lot of users, but very high volume of usage on who we've got there. And then last slide. We did go ahead. We have 16 sprinkler accounts, all commercial. Made a small adjustment there, 50 cents on the sprinkler side. This isn't going to generate much money. We anticipate it'll be in the hundreds over what we have currently, but we went ahead and adjusted that as well. Again, this is on the commercial side, and it's across 16 sprinkler accounts. So really what this does is I think it achieves council's goal of going ahead and cut that deficit in half. When I show you the budget spreadsheets or the budget presentation that we're going to do here pretty soon, we'll show that transfer in on the other half to basically zero out your utilities budget. I will caution you that a year from now, it looks like we're going to have to look at the same thing, because let's say that everything stays the same, costs stay the same, we're going to still find ourselves roughly $50,000 in the hole on the water and sewer side. So this is phase one of being able to make that water and sewer whole. And this is first step in going ahead and doing that. We think that for the vast majority of residents, that being 50% plus, they're going to see a $1.90 increase a month. When you get to the higher tier users, like Rick over here, who uses a whole bunch of water, quite frankly, their water usage fluctuates from month to month anyway, because they're not hitting that 4,000 base rate. They're going 6,000 one month, 8,000 the next month, 10,000 the month after that. And so they're seeing their bill fluctuate no matter what. So really what we're looking at is that for those people who are up to 4,000 and they know what they're paying every month, they're going to see a $1.90 increase every month. And so that's really what we tried to look at when we knew we had to cut that gap in half. It's the best solution we could come up with. So with that, questions, comments, concerns, it's yours.
Tell Anna Maria that first of all, we're concerned about her father. Is that the deal? Let her know that we're thinking of her. And I appreciate can't imagine the amount of work that's gone into this. Nick, you've done a great job of picking the ball up and running with it. I thank you for that. But since you're involved in creating it, you kind of had an easy road to go. So we have had a discussion on this. I'm calling for a motion to amend the fee schedule regarding the trash pickup and the sewer rates as we just reviewed.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve by Kurt. Second by Rick. Any further discussion?
I did want to mention something. I think that it was important to council when we talked about it that the base stay the same, especially, and I know for me and other council members, for somebody that lives at home that's on a fixed income that's not using a lot of water, it was important to try to keep those the same as much as possible. And so, I know we use a lot of water and, I'm willing to pay for it, but somebody who doesn't, I was glad that we were able to try to keep that the same so that, especially again, fixed income, any little increase is hard. So I appreciate Nick and your staff really, looking at these numbers and taking that into consideration.
Well, Tia, I want to say your words were echoing in our ears when that discussion was being made. So thank you for speaking up.
Okay.
All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries unanimously. Here we are, item 3, discussion consideration of item ordinance 2021-31, accepting the proposed budget and setting the 21st day of September 2021 at 6 p.m. At Meadows Place City Hall as the time, date, and place for a public hearing from the proposed municipal budget for fiscal year 2021-22.
We have a PowerPoint on this.
We have a itemized PowerPoint to view, which will kind of summarize what we're doing and what we're talking about. You got it?
Got it.
Whoop. I lost the city secretary.
All right. We've got a few slides here talking about annual budget. Steve, anything you like about this was me. Anything you don't like about it was Anna Maria. And it's short. It's short. So this really kind of, this is state law, and so this will be your cover page on your budget, and it goes ahead and shows you what .832 generates this year as opposed to what it generated last year. You might recall that at the last legislative session, they redid the entire structure and started talking about no new revenue rates, de minimis rates, voter approval rates. The .832 puts it in between the no new revenue rate and the voter approval rate. You can see here that keeping it at .832 generates an additional $54,935, which is a 1.6% increase from last year's budget. So essentially what you're doing is you're looking at what does the new valuations in town generate if we keep the tax rate the same across both years. There's the answer to that question. Next slide. Since we met last at the EOC to discuss budget, we got some feedback on some changes. Then here's what we've got. Since last time, we did talk about going ahead and going from part-time to full-time on that account specialist position. That's now worked into the budget. We went ahead and redid the election expenditures back to what it originally was. That $30,000 in Parks Capital, that goes ahead and gets funded in our general fund budget. You'll see that in the Parks budget down there as a capital item. And so you might recall that in the past, when we first looked at this, we had revenues over expenditures at $121,000. That brings the number down to $45,000 after all these are changed. So essentially, the budget that's being presented to you tonight is balanced with a $45,000 surplus. Now, the question then is, what do you do with the $45,000 that's dangling out there? What we did as a staff is we kind of called an audible at the line and said, well, why don't we just throw it in capital projects as an infrastructure expense, okay? So when you look at the budget, what you're going to find is that $45,000 is living inside of the infrastructure line item under CIP. That way we can zero out the budget and have a zero on revenue, or have revenues match expenditures. We talked just a second about the utility side. We talked about the garbage rate. We talked about water and sewer that were adjusted. And you can see that while it used to be well over $100,000, we were able to decrease that deficit and have $57,000 in the hole there. What you'll find is that actually in the budget, you're going to have a $57,000 transfer in from reserves in order to go ahead and zero out and balance that water and sewer budget.
Before we leave this slide.
Uh-oh.
So the full-time account specialist, it does look like we're going to have a vacancy there?
We are definitely going to have a vacancy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just as a reminder for the new council members, that used to be a full-time position when Laura was here. We changed it to part-time because the person we hired wanted to be part-time. We are putting it back to a full-time so we can try to attract someone into it. If the person we end up hiring wants to be part-time, we'll look at how to adjust that again. But for budgeting purposes, knowing to try to attract someone, we had to go back to a full-time position.
Right. And from a staff perspective, it does create some institutional knowledge for us. To use another sports term, our depth chart's pretty thin. And this allows us to have somebody full-time that can get in there and be able to handle some of our finance duties if, for example, we have a finance director that needs to get on a plane, which happened last night. So we feel pretty confident that it's going to create some redundancies and eliminate some of those single-point failures that we hate to see.
Thank you, Rick. Good point.
Next slide. This is just reiteration. You see your general fund revenue, general fund expenditures. It is a balanced budget at .832. Next slide on the utility side, same thing. Utility fund shows a balanced budget where it was previously 112. We were able to drop that in half with the increase in the rates and then pulled in the other half from reserves, creating a balanced budget there. Next. So this is some information about property tax exemptions. There's questions from time to time about what exemptions the city grants. We do have, obviously, that 20% homestead exemption, which is maximum allowed by state law. Average homestead value is right there. This is appraisal district homestead value. This isn't market value. And you can see what the average homestead exemption is on those homes. And so the average home at $218,000 at 0.832 levies $1,455 a year in city property taxes. So that gives you an average home. Anybody can obviously stack up what their home value would be against the tax rate minus the 20% and find out what that number would be. This is just an average. Second idea is the over 65 exemption, which you see the $30,000 there in effect. We have 535 over 65 exemptions. You can see that with that 535, that knocks the levy down to $249.60. If you were to take that, basically on the city side, that over 65 exemption being in place generates $133,536 less to the city as opposed to if that 65 exemption was not in effect at all. And so really what that is that's 535 homes times that $249.60. Questions about that? Okay, next slide. This shows you the actual values. And so what Anna Maria did here was we stacked up the taxable value back in 2020 against what the taxable value the county has given us in 2021. You can see where that increase is. You can see those values under protest. And then you can actually see the levy on that right column of what we're actually levying based on those values. And so, again, the no new revenue rate, in order to generate the exact same amount of money this year as we would have last year, you can see we would have had to set the tax rate at 0.818, and we would have levied 3.313, which is exactly what we levied in fiscal year 21. Instead, going with the 0.832, we're levying 3.368, which again is roughly $50,000 more than what we levied last year. And so that $50,000 really tells you what the values did year over year for the city by keeping the rate the same. Okay? And this again is just a definition because we're all still learning it. The legislature in their wisdom changed everything up. Now we're having to learn new vocabulary, trying to forget what the word effective tax rate means. No new revenue rate is, of course, that rate that will generate the same money in both years. The voter approval rate is that 3.5% figure, which would trigger the ability for residents to go ahead and call for an election. And then that de minimis rate, which is not something that we're hitting, is that very unusual circumstance where we can generate an additional $500,000 in M&O from the previous year before an automatic election is ordered. Now, again, we came in roughly between the no new revenue and the voter approval rate.
And that de minimis rate's right around 8%. Is that correct?
No, it was more than that.
Much more than that. On our budget, if we're talking about a budget of, let's say, $5.7 million.
Because for us to drive up to $500,000.
Right. If you go up an additional $500,000, that's going to be well over 8%.
Yeah, I mean, we could have increased the tax rate to 0.946.
Right.
And on that de minimis rate.
Correct. Which we did not do. So, with that, obviously the budget's in the packet. You can see in the budget that we talked about those transfers in. You're going to see a transfer in from EDC in the capital budget for the mobility bond project. That's just for next year. The transfer in as well for infrastructure at $45,008. That, of course, is the leftover money in the budget, and that gets us started on whatever we want to eventually put in that infrastructure line item to go ahead and start Dorrance. Now, when we hit fiscal year 22, in my opinion, the biggest conversation council's going to have is when do we start Dorrance? And that's something that we're going to have to talk about once those full plans come in. When we decide how we're going to pay for that, the money will live inside that infrastructure line item. So with that, that is fiscal year 22 proposed. Just a reminder, you don't vote on it tonight, although you vote to receive the proposed budget. The real vote comes next month, along with the vote on the tax rate that supports the proposed budget.
And we're going to post this on our website in advance of the public hearing?
On the website, yes. We'll also have...
We'll put a link up on the Facebook page as well.
Okay. That way anybody that wants to look at it can look at it and come prepared for the public hearing.
Correct. That's our wish. All right, so all we're doing is accepting the proposed rate and setting the 21st September date. Do I have a motion to approve ordinance 2021-31?
We're accepting the proposed budget, not the rate.
Oh, accepting the proposed budget. Thank you.
Good catch.
It's written right. It's just spoken wrong.
Move to approve.
Motion by Rick, second by Kelly. Further discussion?
Well, any questions from the audience at this point? Although most of your questions will be at the hearing.
Hint, hint.
Good job, guys. I'm actually impressed. What I calculated is $35 a house that it's going up. So I do have a couple questions, but I'll hold to that. But
your results may vary depending on what the appraisal district did to your house.
Yeah, but 30, that's what, 2 or 3%, something like that. So, which is better than previous years. Mm-hmm. I assume some of that's from the bonds that we're no longer having to pay, that $300,000 or $400,000, which is funding.
Actually, last year I think we.
Yeah, 2 years ago was when we paid that off. So last year was the first year we didn't have any bond debt.
And that's being used to fund the construction projects, right?
Yeah.
Right. Did you consider increasing the road use fee?
It was actually talked briefly, but not extensively.
Yeah,
being we were going to have to adjust the utility rates.
Right. And on the utility rates, I noticed there's $54,000 of coming out of reserves. How much is in that account?
As of, I wrote it down because I knew you were in the audience, so I just wrote it down. I got to find where I wrote it down. Hold on.
It's healthy. The issue is we need to make some repairs at the wastewater treatment plant.
Always, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Well, we're moving forward with some biggies.
As of the last investment report, which would have been a couple of months ago, I think it is, $2.45 million in reserves right now.
Wow. Okay. I would suggest the council then take a look at when they're increasing next year, is do we really need to increase and just draw down reserves? Because what is that, like 3 or 4 months?
Are we presenting the CIP?
We are.
Yes.
Wait till you see the next presentation and come back to us.
I'm an impatient guy. Come on, man.
We're tracking with you. We got
You're going to have to stay here all night.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Okay.
Did we vote?
I had another question.
No.
Okay, thanks.
I had a motion and a second. Okay, hold on. I'm darn sure going to put the timer on this guy.
No, you don't. No. Terry Henley, 12203 Alston Drive. No, it looks like the tax rate, leaving it the same, would basically increase the revenue in the maybe 2% range over the previous year, which, from a revenue standpoint, we're basically limited to around 8%, which is the minimus, rate is similar to 8%. But my question had to do with, you said that the Capital Parks project is included in that number. What is the Capital Parks project and how much money is that?
Capital Improvement Project, not Parks Project.
No, there's a line item of Capital Parks.
It says Capital Parks.
That's $30,000 a year.
Is that what that is? Okay.
I don't remember what we said we were doing with that money.
She's got it all broken down into parks repairs, like
okay. It just seemed like
replacement equipment. Rather than trying to patch a slide, we'll replace the side, that type of thing. And we have put new playground equipment in the pocket parks as well and other places.
And the monies the previous year we had set aside for retiring or debt was, it seemed like a couple of $100,000, and that was left in it last year. And so that money must be going somewhere. I'm just curious as to how you broke it down, because the overall general numbers you gave, we don't have any idea.
That's why we're going to make this available on the website.
Are you going to put it on the website and we can look at it? Okay,
yeah,
cool. That's good.
That's where we're trying to move it to, did we call it a road infrastructure fund?
Infrastructure, just infrastructure.
So we're starting to put that money.
What do you call it? Infrastructure. That's good. Okay.
So we're putting that money away for, right now it's Dorrance reconstruction.
Good. So you'll have a fund identified as infrastructure, and we'll have an idea of how much is going into that fund.
Correct.
That's great. That's good. That's good. Okay, thanks.
Terry, don't run off. You got 40 seconds yet.
Well, I got another topic.
All right. Well, you're now reset. So you're done. Whoops. So we had a motion and we had a second. We've had discussion. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And that was to accept the proposed budget. Discussion consideration item number 4 of ordinance 2021-32, accepting the proposed capital improvement plan for 2021-22.
Get ready to hold your breath.
Okay, the CIP is, I got something, I'm just reading right off the recap and the summary here. Staff has worked on and presented the city CIP to council as part of a fiscal year 2022 process. The plan, which works on both long-term or short-term and 5-year and long-term and 15-year basis, consists of both funded and unfunded projects. Several workshops were spent on it. There were tweaks were made. It was back and forth. And the opportunity the city has had to fund some of these projects were actually taking place this year. This council has the opportunity to formally adopt the CIP, knowing that in some cases funding sources still need to be identified. So we're listing everything out, but not all of it has funding sources tied to it. So with that, do we have anything else to add on the CIP? No project, no nothing? Okay. So council, y'all are aware of it. We've worked for it. You've seen them come back and forth. What I'm going to be looking for is a motion to accept the proposal for the capital improvement plan for the fiscal year 2021-22.
Well, wait, no PowerPoint? Aren't we going to?
Nope.
I make that motion.
Okay, got a motion by David.
I'll second.
Got a second by Kurt. Any discussion,
Will
council?
will we be putting this up on the website as well, just so people can look at it? But in general, we're looking at anywhere from $1 million to $500,000 to $1 million a year on a capital improvement project. And now we're just trying to identify where those funding is going to come from. Can we get some of it from the county through a mobility project? Is it through increasing the road use fee, transferring the money that was going to bonds into an infrastructure account? We're trying to line it out over the next several years and make some determinations on how to achieve some of this.
Okay, does anybody in the audience have a question or comment on the item number 4? Please identify yourself, sir.
Steve Besner, 12222 Meadowcrest. That's 100 years, right?
What's that?
Excuse me?
That's going to be $500,000 to $1 million a year
per year
on a project that's probably going to cost at least $100 million for all the streets, right? So this is a 100-year project.
In theory.
Right. And like we'll all be gone. Our children will be gone. So do we have any kind of, I know we've asked this question for years. Is there a chance that we can get some mobility funding, some funding from the feds or from the state?
So we've already talked about, right now we're designing Dorrance from basically the dog park to Kirkwood and trying to fund that ourselves. The county will most likely be coming forward with another bond project in 2023, maybe 2024, and we'll probably put in Dorrance from Kirkwood to Derry Ashford as part of that, for that project.
Why would you skip between Bloomington and Kirkwood then?
That's because that's the first leg of what we're doing.
That's going to be covered phase 2 of the first part. Okay, right. Got it. Right, got it.
And so if we can show the county that we're trying to do some of it ourselves, we're much more likely to get funding for an internal street. Most of the mobility funds go to thoroughfares like Kirkwood, West Airport. The county will fund some internal streets for small cities. We've done it for Kendleton, Arcola, things like that. So there's a good chance we can get on the list. It'll just be how many people are putting in for projects.
And there's like zero chance we can get any Fed money, some of that Tom DeLay money we got years ago.
Only if they come up with more stimulus funds. Right. In general, basically, if you put, call it Dorrance or Montecito up against any City of Houston street that's going to be going in front of HGAC for TIP funding, we're going to get destroyed.
Right. Final question. Do you have a roadmap yet on kind of the phasing? I just heard from phase 2 would be from Kirkwood to Derry Ashford. And then are you guys looking at, we're going to do Mulholland next, or kind of do we have a plan on that?
It'd be Mulholland or Montecito.
Montecito.
And so at this point, we haven't made that decision because it might be a completely different council by then.
It's going to be
back on council.
It'll be 6 years, right?
Just because you don't know how long is it going to take for us to get all of Dorrance done. So until we see a finish line for Dorrance, we're not really starting to talk about another street. But just when you look at the travel demand, it's got to be Mulholland or Montecito.
Yeah, I agree. My street would be last, I know.
Actually, with the amount of traffic going to the school, it probably won't be last. With me being on a U, it's going to be the U's and the cul-de-sacs that get last.
That's true.
That's true. Okay, so where were we? Okay, item number 4. We had a motion and a second. We've had lots of discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Good night. She just wanted to make sure her stuff got in the CIP. Okay. Item number 5, discussion consideration of resolution 2021-21 authorizing the mayor to execute an interlocal agreement with the City of Stafford for firefighting, fire protection, and fire investigative services. Folks, unless we're going to start one, we need to move on with this.
Move to approve.
Motion.
Hold on, sorry. I apologize, Mayor. There's a typo we need you guys to address on page 3. Bottom of page 3, it still says that the fire marshal is going to get $35 an hour over $125. The proposal actually bumps that to $45. So we'll need to approve as amended from $35 to $45.
So that goes 40 and okay. From 35 to 40. Council got that?
Move to approve as amended.
Got a motion to approve as amended. Second by Kurt.
Just a reminder, we are not negotiating from a position of strength.
No, we're not. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing that motion carries unanimously. We got a meeting with DeCamillo. Friday, right? Thursday morning, okay. Number 6, discussion and consideration ordinance 2021-33, amending Chapter 91 of the City of Meadows Place Code of Ordinances, garbage and trash by adding Section 91.026, General Penalty Code of Ordinances, and this is about dumpsters. We don't have a current section of our Code of Ordinances which regulates having dumpsters in the city. You can park them out there for 13 years and really we can't do much about it. This will correct that. I think everybody's reviewed it. We've discussed it. It's coming off of similar to the PODS permit ordinance, and it'll require a fee, a permit, etc., just like the other one. So do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Kurt.
Second.
Second by Tia.
does have that 3-day grace period, right? Or whatever, however many days it had.
Yeah, I want to.
Yes.
I want to emphasize that, and I want to make sure everybody's okay with this because we did create this to mirror the pods ordinance that we just did.
Right.
This does have that 60-day time frame on it. If you want to go further than 60 days, we can do that. But remember that an open permit, let's say for remodeling, could last 6 months. So we put 60 days in there as a time frame that you could have your dumpster out there. Just want to make sure, I guess, get your comfort level on that before we approve it.
So, I mean, how many days before you have to pull the permit? I'm trying to find that.
Really, it's immediately after we find it. And so if you want to have some kind of a...
I thought, Kurt, didn't we just talk about having amount, if it's less than 3 days, no permit required?
Correct, yeah, similar to the pods.
Yeah, that was in the pods ordinance.
Okay. We can add
There's times people are just cleaning out a garage over a weekend and
No.
it's gone.
Okay. We can, on Section 3, I apologize for that. On Section 3, we can just add a section in there that says, after 72 hours of the dumpster being on property, then no person shall leave the dumpster without the permit.
Okay. Kurt, you want to amend your motion?
Yeah, I move to approve the amended version here with the 3-day grace period. Let me make sure we got the sidewalk covered. I know I saw it last night.
It basically says it can't.
Yeah, it can't
Place
be
it
on
on
a
a sidewalk.
sidewalk. Good.
Okay.
That was the original intent on this one.
Okay.
Just question, clarification on that. We had talked about might be a couple of houses that would fall where they would not be able to. The shorter driveways.
They'd either have to get a shorter dumpster or something. They wouldn't be able to get that long
Maybe
one.
sideways. Is
Or
that
maybe
what we-
sideways. I'm okay with the 60 days. Was there any consideration where that should be a longer time that we would allow them to have a
They can
dumpster up there?
they can reapply for permit, too.
Well, it says no more than one permit may be issued for any lot in any 12-month period.
Oh, that's true.
We didn't want to put 6 months because that's half a year, but it's really up to y'all.
I mean, I'm good with the 60 days, but Kurt, you do this more than I do.
I mean, honestly, doing flips, if someone's coming in, flipping a house, doing a big remodel, the dumpster's really there more for the beginning. And kind of at the end, it's just one last little trash haul. So 60 days should be sufficient. If we have an issue with it, let's bring this back up again.
Yeah, we can revisit it if it becomes an issue.
Okay, because
rather
the
be a little
pods are
more
90,
strict.
but this is different. This is a dumpster, so we're saying
Right.
60.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're leaving the 60 days. We are adding a
72
72-hour
hour grace
clause.
period.
We'll say after
So
72
we've had a
hours.
motion with the amended clause being added for 3 days.
Second.
Seconded by Tia on them as amended. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Any questions from the audience?
I looked at the audience, and neither one of them said anything. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you for looking after our constituents, Rick. But I had checked. Okay, item 7 is discussion and consideration of ordinance 2021-34, amending the City of Meadows Place Code of Ordinances, Chapter 10, Rules of Construction, General Penalty, Section 1099, General Penalty of the Code of Ordinances. That settles it, doesn't it? This is, as you look at your summary, adjusting the step tiered ladder for code ordinances. We had, I thought, a tremendous discussion, worked it through, and it ended up with this modification, amending the City of Place Code to where, and I'm going to recap this real quick, Council, last chance to change it, because everybody wanted it changed, and we had to work our way through this, okay? Again, I want to appreciate Tia stepping up on this and sticking to it so hard. Council wanted to be more specific on what constitutes a violation. We had a discussion, Courtney and Jennifer, this morning to make sure she understood, and we're going to review that again to make sure that she understands what it goes, and that's a violation, and that's when it goes to court. The time frame that cumulative violations was 36 months on a rotating basis, and ultimately council decided to modify the fine amounts to $50 for the first time violation, $150 for the second, and $500. By the way, so those are the maximum. Okay, it's up to 50, 150, and 500, and hopefully these did serve the purpose of providing clearer parameters for everybody to see. So, with that comments, do I have a motion to pass the 2021-34 amending our code?
So moved.
Motion by Kurt.
Second.
Second by Tia. Thank you guys for being awake. Any further discussion?
Well, and I would encourage if we can either put it in the newsletter or
we're going to splash it everywhere,
or do one of our video things.
We'll do that too.
But the residents need to understand if it goes to a summons, you're going to draw a fine. You need to take care of it before you draw the summons. And I think that's the part that people don't understand. They think they're just going to show up at court, show that it's been addressed, and then the whole thing goes away. And so we just need to clarify that.
Because they are getting tagged with court costs regardless.
Right. And I don't think our citizens understand, or at least not all of our citizens understand that.
Correct.
I think the other thing that I mentioned to Nick, and that is that Jennifer, or whoever our code enforcement officer is, does not issue citations or summons. She makes recommendations to the court based on what she sees, and she has that window of opportunity to identify, correct, or have the resident correct or call her before it goes to court, before the citation is issued. I think we need to do a much better job explaining that to a lot of the residents. Just from the current Facebook postings that I saw, it looks like there's a huge disconnect between the fact that she's not the person who writes the citation and her recommendation to the court is what generates. And you're right, by the time the court sends you a summons, you're already on the hook for at least the court cost, no matter what you've done.
Right.
Just to clarify, the code enforcement official does file the complaint in court.
Correct.
Yes.
She does, but she doesn't personally write a citation on
Correct.
site.
She cannot write a citation.
What she does with the homeowner is talks about the infraction and ways to remedy it. And if they don't remedy it or they don't talk to her again, she will proceed with.
And I haven't looked at our what she gives out, but I think the question is it the city's responsibility to go back and look to see if it's done, or is it the city's or the citizen's responsibility to notify her it's been done? I think that needs to be clarified as well.
And part of that, Rick, I had a call yesterday from a resident with that question, and they sent me a photo of their notice of violation. So notice of violation, not court summons. Notice of violation is essentially your in violation, fix it by this date. But what it says is violation must be corrected by a certain date.
It doesn't say contact us.
And I think it needs to say
it
also.
It does say contact us.
Well, it says, not right there, it says if you have any questions or concerns, call me.
Okay, so what would you like it to say? Contact us?
So one thing I think should be happen on there, violations must be corrected by 8/22. Just as, for example, on this one, I think it should say, I will come back by on that date to inspect to make sure it's been taken care of, just so they know she's doing it and you don't have to call her. You can, but
if we're going to say that it's the city's responsibility to verify on that date.
That's what the flow chart says.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what the flow
And so
chart says.
we need to clarify
Go
that.
back and check it. So if that is the case, then I agree. There should be a date that she will come back. The citizen should know.
And I'm not. You guys got to be. We have one code enforcement officer, and sometimes she gets sick. And what if she misses that date?
If she
We
misses
just have
that
to
day,
say-
She follows
Mayor, if
up
she
when she
misses
gets
that
back.
day, she doesn't submit it to court until she can go and verify.
Until she can go inspect it.
Exactly.
Right.
And so that's,
Or you change it to say that it's the person's responsibility to contact her and let them know that it's done so that she can go out and check.
That's
I mean,
that's
you
too
could go either
cumbersome
way.
on the resident. I don't.
No, and I agree. I'm just saying you can't have on our flow chart that she's going to come out. Or I agree with
when she
David.
puts it down into Comcade, she puts the offense date and she puts the date when it's supposed to be done. That triggers a next drop, a go-by date, and she goes by on that date or the day before. Okay?
Well, it can't be the day before.
Yeah.
And
the day after, maybe.
Well,
Day after. If you go the day before and then they take care of
And
it
they
on the
take care of
day,
it, I understand.
and then we throw a
I'm sorry,
summons
it
at
says
them.
day before when in front of court.
Yeah.
Okay, so
she
goes back.
she needs to go back and inspect on that date, late in the day, or the following day. Because if you tell me I've got
No,
until
I got
8:22 to address it, and I do it at 7:00 that night, but she was there at 3 in the afternoon.
well, it's her working hours, so you need to be.
No, she goes the next
She
day.
takes pictures usually.
Okay, so is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
we don't care if it's midnight, but
So maybe you
it's
can
that
put
day.
a
So
time,
she goes
a date
by
and
the
time
day
on there.
after. And we're going to have a meeting with Jen. The reason I'm pounding this out, we're going to have a meeting with Jennifer, and we're walking through the flow chart, and we're making sure we have all these taken care of. So I want to make, it's council's
What I would
wish
like to
that
see
she goes
is a-
through the day after the date
Question,
was
what
due.
does the flow chart show?
Well, go look at it.
I mean,
Go
my
look
under,
at it right now.
if
Go pull your deal up and go look at it. Can we
Well,
pull it up?
Charlie, you're getting defensive.
I am because he knows what it looks like, and
But-
if not, go look at it.
And-
And
and
my
the-
point
and
is,
my
nobody's looking at it.
I'll tell you what I think it looks like. I have looked at it in the past, unless you've changed it. A warning is written for, a discrepancy or whatever, a warning, okay?
Where
That
does it
says you
say
got X-
warning on the flow chart, Terry?
Well, it should be on there. If the flow chart
We
shows
don't
what
issue
the,
warnings.
I don't have a flow chart in front of me.
We don't issue
What does it
warnings.
say on that statement?
You do not issue warning anymore.
Charlie, you're splitting hairs.
It's called
No,
notice of
notice of
violation.
violation.
Yeah, I know what it
Okay,
is, but
notice
you're
of
splitting
violation, that's
hairs,
fine.
Which
A
is-
and this
notice
is
of
why you're
violation.
getting your
And
rear end
right
handed to
below
you.
where
And-
it says notice of violation, it says not a ticket, so that people know.
Correct.
This is not, which is good.
And then the notice of violation after that, then if it is a citation after that, then it's a ticket.
It's called summons.
Whatever you want, what do you call
She
it?
issues it, it's a summons. If she has to call a police officer out there, which sometimes happens, and you'll notice on a police report, they had a lot of warnings, but they didn't issue any violations. Okay. If they issue it, it's a ticket.
Okay.
Okay, and that's done right there, and it's all handled through them in the courts. If Jennifer does it, there's a time and it has a date of whenever the violation is due to be repaired.
Correct.
Or-
And if the violation is corrected, she needs to verify it's corrected. If it wasn't, then she can go to court and say.
She closes the case.
Correct.
And I'm serious. Take a look at the flow chart because it has that on there.
Is that online?
Yes, you can go to departments, code enforcement in red.
Okay.
It says code enforcement flow chart.
Okay. Been a while since I looked at it.
Yeah. But it's there.
But it needs to be the city's responsibility to verify that it has been corrected, or then the citation's issued to appear in court.
Well, that's how she closes the case.
Okay.
Somebody go by and looks at it.
And that is a clarification that is not clear to the residents. I can assure you that.
I agree with
Okay?
that.
And somehow that needs to be corrected. That was my only comment.
Thank you. We're trying right now to do that. We're going to be coming out with a whole deal on code enforcement, announcing this program, and we're going to go through the flow chart so we can make sure we don't have any questions between code enforcement, what she sees and what we intend. And that's why I wanted to sit down there, and I understand that it's at 11:59. If you fix that on that date, you got it covered. We'll make sure that she doesn't go out there on the day before at all and goes on that date or the day after.
day after.
I have one more comment on that. I just want to say, as far as the residents go, if in recent, if they feel like they've been treated unfair or it didn't work, I encourage residents to reach out to us. I know that there's been some, and that causes us to go back and look and make sure that we are doing what we're supposed to do. So I think that's how this came about, is to make sure that it's clear and it's understandable to everybody and we're all on the same page. So I just encourage more residents to let us know if they feel that that's not the case, and we will look into it.
One quick note for folks in the room and also folks listening. So we proposed lowering the fee. I think one reason was we learned there was a court cost, or I learned there was a court cost of, $82, I believe. So even if you got a first-time summons and it was $100 max, well, that's really $182, which we felt that was too high. And so first-time violation used to be, or first-time summons was $100, now it's $50. Second time was $200, now it's $150, and then the third is the same. So just so y'all know the before and after. I don't think we spoke of that yet, but
I want to tag on that. I'm not as much, because you got to remember, it's max, it's up to.
Yes.
Okay? And if you come in there with that taken care of, the judge can work with that a little bit. However, I think what's more important is that we got to float in 3 years. Instead of it just tagging on for 17, if you're here and you get one in the 17th year is number 3, and then all of a sudden you get pegged with the highest rate. I think that's more important. So, yes, sir.
New. See that? Yeah. I think Tia hit the nail on the head, is to call and communicate. And I think this is a tough nut to crack. It's never been cracked. And from the discussion tonight, it's still not cracked. But it's a difficult thing that's been going on forever. And my suggestion is, when you put it into the newsletter, is to communicate. If I get a citation, or if someone gets a citation, I'll call Mayor or call Nick or call someone, because I'm going to have an ally on my side to help me navigate the bureaucracy. Because I've seen the flow. I think I had my hand in that flow chart. It's way too complicated. Any process with that many steps, it's just not going to be followed. And so I would really suggest that you guys become advocates of the citizens and put your name out there and say, contact one of your councilmen, the city secretary, or something. And that's the way I would resolve it. Thanks.
Thank you.
We can take the flow chart off.
No, but the flow chart doesn't have what Nick read, which was the name of that notice. It doesn't say that, and that's.
It doesn't say what?
I keep hearing warning, and we don't have a warning. It
says notice of violation.
Yeah, that's not. I don't think it's on the flow chart. No, it doesn't. It says inspection or violation report. Right. But that's not what it. The statement does
say notice of violation issue after it is after it inspects after it's noticed, then the notice is
right.
But
it's before she issues a notice of violation. And I want to say I've talked to Jennifer since this started, and one of the things that people have said, well, nobody let me know. Well, that may be true, because if they're at work, and if we don't have their phone number up here, we can't do an outreach to them. But before she gets out of the truck to try, she writes out a little yellow card and puts the violation number and what it is and her phone number on there, and hangs it on the door if nobody's home. There's not, I don't know, a whole lot more we can do. But we reach, and I told Jennifer, I asked her, I said, what percentage do you contact? She said, I don't know, probably 95 to 99%. I said, nope, that's the wrong answer.
So we're putting these on the door, we're not mailing them?
The notice of violation gets mailed. But when she goes up to talk to them, to say, hey, Rick, by the way, you've got.
You know, we've got residents that don't use their front door, right?
Absolutely I do, but she can't go in the back.
No, but what I'm saying is, I'm fine with dropping it on the door, but we need to mail this too. We can't rely on just sticking it on the door.
We're mailing the notice of violation, are we not?
I know that she
We're
is
mailing the
mailing
citation.
notices
Yeah.
of violations,
The actual
but I know
notice.
she's actually doing the yellow card. I do not know if she comes back and mails a notice after that yellow. I don't know her process on that.
I feel that we have to mail that, because if a resident says, nobody told me I had a violation, and all we've got is we stuck it on your front door, I've got an issue with that.
I do too, Rick. I do too.
I definitely don't want to come up here because I have experience with this, but I'm Jimmy Fenwick at 12323 Alston Drive. And I do have experience with this. It was right before the freeze. We received in the mail notice of violation, and it was for, I have been battling forever the vines that people love in this city that grow up on the houses, you know, the people that lived before us. They put them in, and I battle it and battle it and battle it. Well, some of the vines were still there. I was told to remove those. I had one of the pickets was missing out of my fence. I believe those were the two. Just for some clarification, I don't know if I was home or not at the time, but I never received any kind of yellow, anything. And also I have talked to, I don't know if this is truth or not, but I've talked to other residents who have had those notes that showed up at one time, but they were home. And they were nobody ever knocked on the door, tried to speak to them or anything else. However, that being said, I received the notice of violation. I do want to say, I know there's been lots of concerns and all that stuff. This was the freeze that happened. Nobody could get anybody to help do anything. There was all this stuff, and she worked with me and said, hey, just take care of what you can. Get it done. I'll come back and look. This is extenuating circumstances. And it was great. But the notice of violation was mailed to me with pictures showing those areas. I was one of those residents that was also upset because I'm sitting here going, really? We just went through all of this and I'm receiving this. However, it may have been noticed beforehand. So, it needed to be taken care of. But I just thought I'd share that because, Rick, with your great questions, but I'm just saying as a resident who experienced it, it came to me the way it should have come. Whether as residents we like it, nobody likes to be told that there's a problem, but it did come. And again, when I talked to her, she worked with me to make sure, that it was, that I had the time to get it repaired. So.
I forgot about mine. Yeah.
Okay.
This goes back a couple of years ago, and Jennifer and I had several discussions, and there's some mold on the fireplace, and we communicated via emails, okay, and she sent pictures. I mean, that's another way. As long as some way of communication that you leave tracks. Okay, that's what's key.
Are you asking, can she communicate with you via email?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. She does it all the time.
Yeah, that's good.
But we don't have everybody's email, and not everybody emails her. So she's trying to fight on many, many different fronts. And I appreciate all this conversation.
And make sure that she knows this isn't council being down on her or code enforcement. This council is very much for an active code enforcement. We just want the residents being treated fairly.
Anything else? Are we sure? Then can we get back to the topic at hand of ordinance 2021-34, amending our code of ordinance for the items on the penalty or violation. And we've had a motion and we've had a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. And guys, we're working with her right now, and Rick, I hesitated, but I think we mail out every notice of violation, but I will confirm. Okay? Okay. Okay. Discussion and consideration. I wish I'd had my horse. Resolution 2021-22, ratifying the First Amendment to the Fort Bend County Cooperation Agreement. We have an agreement with Fort Bend County. We executed that agreement with the county on or about July 18th, 2015. It rolled around. It was time for renewal. This amendment updates all the Section 3 Housing and Urban Development Act, all the things that we need to do to be part of that. Due to the deadline that they contacted us, and we got back to them. We sent it to the city attorney. They said, great, reviewed it, approved it. We sent it over to the county, and what we're doing tonight is they authorized it for me to sign it. What we're doing is just ratifying by city council tonight something that we've already signed and sent back to county.
Move to approve.
Motion by Rick, second by Kurt. Any
being,
questions?
And being most of our council was not here the last time we did this, in general, we're not going to qualify for any CDBG funds. And so whatever small amount that we would be eligible for, even though we would never get it, we just transfer the county to be used by them.
Okay. So had a motion. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This is one of those that I think we just do because we should and we're afraid not to.
It brings a little money to the county that we would never see.
Oh, then I'm glad to do my part. Yeah, absolutely. Discussion, consideration, resolution 2021-23, authorizing the mayor and city secretary to enter into a joint election agreement and contract with Fort Bend County for the city of Meadows Place for November 2nd, 2021 special election services.
Move to approve, because I don't want to run an election.
No. Motion by Rick, second by Kelly. Any discussion? I do want to say that this covers the home rule charter election, but we'll also be participating in the general election at the same time. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Council, I'm going to ask you to consider and please pass this resolution 2021-24 requesting a delay in the FEMA risk rating 2.0. Whether we can get them to, I don't know. Probably not. It's tight on budget, but
move to approve.
Rick, as a motion.
I'll second.
Second by Tia.
And while it would have a minimal effect on Meadows Place, it will have a devastating effect on Fort Bend County. You could see housing valuations of properties inside levees drop by half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is that big.
Possibly. That's what we're saying. And nobody's talking.
If you were going to buy a house and your yearly flood insurance bill was going to be over $10,000, would you buy in a levee?
So that's what we're trying to do is just say, hey, hold on. So pass the motion. We had a second.
Real quick, Mayor pats us on the back a lot. I'm going to pat him on the back on this one. He took the charge on this one with the county. Mayors and council across the county had no idea what was going on. He took the lead on this. He contacted the right people. He got meetings set up. He's been chasing this down a lot. When honestly, it doesn't affect us, but it affects the county. And so, thank you, Mayor. This is a big deal. People didn't realize it. You brought it to their attention, and hopefully we can make some headway on this.
I just feel if we want to try to, if you're going to stand up, you need to do it. We've gotten several cities in the county to pass ordinances, some last night, some tonight, some tomorrow night, some Thursday. But we're sending those up. We've sent stuff up to Cornyn, Cruz, and our representative. So with that, we need to have the Meadows Place letter in place. So we've had a motion, a second, some very kind words. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And get to flip the page and get over here to F, consent agenda. Do I have a motion to pass consent agenda? Motion by Kelly. Second by David. All in favor? Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously also. Okay, audience comments for items not on the agenda. Anybody want to say anything? You have 3 minutes.
No, I just said Terry Henley, 12203 Austin Drive. Comment on a Region 14 meeting, TML Region 14, 12th, 13th, 14th. Charlie's there, Rick was there. It's very good. Good presentations on water and wastewater and, several things that was very beneficial to all cities, really.
Yep.
And certainly the Texas Water Development Board, the Harris County, Harris Galveston Subsidence District, those are some very good ones. And, of course, my favorite is my resolution. We don't have to do it on City Council now. Resolutions on newspaper ads, public notices, which we passed at TML Region 14. They'll be one of the first ones on the business meeting at TML at our annual conference in October. So we have that one on there as seek introduction and passage. I'm continuing to work on it, so who knows? One of these days it may pass. I hope so anyway. It's in essence, all public entities in the state of Texas, we spend in excess of $100 million a year on newspaper notices, which aren't read, okay? And we
You can't make that blanket statement, Terry, but I'm with you. And especially take a look at when our legislators, including ours, have something to do, where do they post it? They don't go pull an ad out in the newspaper. They put it on the internet.
Right.
That's all you're asking. And
that's all I'm asking, for an option. Yeah.
That was called the Terry Henley bill last weekend at TML.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
So anyway, yeah, Terry's hung in there for 5 sessions. You've been 5 sessions with that, fighting like crazy. So, and I applaud that, Terry. So with that, if there's no other audience comments, Jimmy, thank you very much for being here and leading us in the invocation. Steve, always good to see you again. Terry, thank you. Item H, adjourn. Well, motion by Tia, second by, thank you. Second, all in favor? And we are adjourned.